live. All right, hello friends. We are going live. We're getting Instagram set up. But yeah, welcome friends. We are gonna get going. So, just getting the Instagram stream going. Cool. Perfect. Getting our stream going, which is really nice. So, welcome everybody. We're going to get this one going. So, I'm just being patient for the Instagram stream. It's always a little bit weird. There we go. And we're going live concurrently. We are now live concurrently on Instagram and also Twitch, everybody. So, welcome everybody. Microphone is working. Cameras are good. Welcome everybody. So I hope everyone is doing well. This is going to be a really cool stream. What we're going to be doing, we're doing something I've been really excited to do for a good long while, everybody. So we're going to be working today on the Baron Boards BP1, which is going to be really exciting. Just a little bit of background on this particular project. Baron Boards is created by a guy named Luke Barron. Now, Luke Barron decided he wanted to make his own keyboard and try and get that keyboard to an eventual group buy. And the board is themed after the McLaren P1 supercar. And it's a relatively rare supercar. Its value right now would be about $1.5 to about $2 million. They're really cool cars. McLaren did not make a lot of them, but if you look up pictures or you see videos of that car actually on the circuit, it's a really fantastic car. That's really cool. And so, as when I was looking on Geek Hack a few months ago, I was looking through older interest checks, and this board kind of came across my Geek Hack feed. And I joined the Discord server, and I started chatting with the designer, Luke Barron. And he's a really cool dude. And I said, like, hey, dude, like, I'm a big fan of this project. Like, I would love to get my hands on one of these boards if you ever get it to group buy. And I'd watched some of the build streams other content creators had created, and I was really excited to kind of see what they would do. And through conversations, I did more digging into the board, and I realized this board takes a standard PCB. What's up, Sandman? We're giving a little bit of background and story time on this particular board before we kind of jump into the build process. So, talking about this board, I noticed it took an H87 pattern PCB. And I know, like, hey, like, a lot of my TKLs that I've done for Alps take Careless's H87 Alps PCB. So I ran the idea by Luke, and I said, hey, man, like, what do you think about maybe doing an Alps build in the BP1 to kind of promote as a kind of unique and weird way to promote the project? And Luke said, yeah, I'm down. So I asked Luke for the plate files, and I sent the plate files over to Careless, and I kind of pitched the idea to Careless and said, Careless said, that's really weird, but let's do it. So we got the plate file made by Careless. And then I sent it over to Tom over at Height Keyboards, and then Tom manufactured this aluminum plate for the BP1. And so it's really cool. And now, as we were kind of talking, Luke said, like, hey, man, like, I'd love to send out a prototype to you to maybe take a look at and help you, and just let you as a smaller creator kind of promote the board. I said, yeah, absolutely, I'd be down. So when Luke was finally ready, he sent me not one but two of the BP1 prototypes. There's only 3 of these boards in existence. There's the green one, there's the orange one, and then there's a black one. My personal favorite is this orange. Now, one thing about on just cameras and lighting, the orange one kind of comes off as yellow, but it's actually an orange. It's not like I say a one-to-one creation of like McLaren's orange livery they use for like their Formula One team. But part of what intrigued me, I'm a big McLaren fan. I wouldn't call myself a car guy, but I do like cars, and I respect the mechanics and the engineering that goes into them. So, and also I enjoy Formula One, and the team that I always root for is McLaren. One of my all-time favorite Formula One racing drivers is Ayrton Senna, who raced for McLaren back in the day. So this is just a really cool board that kind of pays tribute to McLaren and one of their more iconic supercars that they've made for the production side. And also just in Formula One this year, McLaren has absolutely killed it. Again, they won the Constructors and the Drivers' Championship this year. Their team has been absolutely killing it on the circuit, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's a really cool board. One thing about the P1 supercar, there's a ton of carbon fiber panels on the exterior body of the car. So there's this big carbon fiber accent on the back of the board to kind of represent the rear, the rear grille on the rear of the car. That is made almost entirely of carbon fiber. And also we have the Baron Boards logo, which is actually just made of 2 McLaren logos, also with carbon fiber inlay, which is really cool. There's also a lot of really interesting curves on this board. The side profile is just kind of wild. To hold it up to my small camera, but you can see that side profile is just kind of wacky. This side's supposed to represent the side profile of the car. Now, one thing about this board, I've kind of shown this board to different people within different keyboard spaces, and this is the kind of board you either really like it or you really don't like it. So it's either, you either love it or you hate it. That's just kind of the thing with the BP1. You're either all about the design or not. So it's just kind of one of those it's kind of a very subjective board in terms of aesthetics. Now, one of the issues that's Luke has kind of encountered with this project is Luke originally, when he thought up of this idea, is to run the boards himself, similar to like kind of how Darian does it with DN Works boards. But the current political situation here in the United States, I'm not here to talk about politics, but I'm just kind of saying the reality that the tariff situation has kind of created in terms of having things manufactured overseas. Luke kind of did a cost analysis and realized if he did it himself and again, had the boards manufactured overseas, over in Asia, and then had them imported back into the United States, again, the tariffs would, again, make the cost of the board become astronomically and prohibitively expensive. The other option he explored was having the boards manufactured domestically here in the United States. We kind of ran into similar issues in terms of pricing. The boards would also be prohibitively expensive, and they probably wouldn't be as good quality compared to if they were manufactured over in East Asia. So that's kind of where the project kind of has led. Now, Luke has been talking with a major vendor here in North America to take on the BP1 project and facilitate a group buy. And the talk so far, I'm not at the liberty to say which vendor Luke is talking with to take on this project, but the vendor is very, very interested, and they're negotiating a potential second half of 2026 to run this board on group buy, which would be really, really cool. That's just kind of where the negotiations and the talks are right now. The vendor is extremely interested in the project, and they're just kind of, again, they just want to do more communication to kind of communicate, again, if this is a viable project and gauge interest on it. So that's really cool. So I say a few weeks ago, I got to build, I built the green BP1, and I built it with Cherry MX, which is really cool. So I'll kind of show off this one. So we built this one with Gateron Type S switches, and we put GMK white on black. And I think that white and black goes just kind of perfectly with the green of this particular board. It looks awesome. It sounds really good. So I really like this board. I took it out to the UC Irvine Mechanical Keyboard Meetup, and people really, really liked it. So that was really cool. And it was all like, we also got some really constructive feedback on some things that we could do to improve the board or make it a little bit better. So I'm just kind of finding my USB port to plug that in because I am using that as my main board tonight. So there we go. So that's a really cool one. So awesome. So that's a little bit of the background on the project. So so we're using an aluminum plate designed by Careless, made by Hype Keyboards. And another part of this project that comes from Careless is going to be our PCB. So this PCB is Careless's Alpine TKL PCB. So this is an Alps PCB that's fully QMK vial customizable and programmable. It's a 1.2 mil PCB, which is really cool. The PCB is actually designed by Alec Tardy, and so it's kind of a collaboration between Careless and Alec Tardy. So it says Alpine 8K, and this PCB, if you're looking to do like a TKL Alps PCB, build, this board is fantastic. It supports like every layout, every keycap set imaginable. Everything from like 8K to like crazy, every type of space bar size you could imagine. from small space bars all the way up to like a 10U space bar, which is pretty cool. So that's really, really awesome. So this is a really cool board, a really cool PCB. So let me put that back in the little baggie and then kind of go over some of the other parts that we're going to be working with. For keycaps, we're also going white on black. We're going DCS keycaps. So we built the Cherry MX one with white on black, but GMK. Now we're going Signature Plastics DCS Alps white on black, which will be really cool. So this is one of my DCS sets that I've been really excited, looking forward to using in a build. So since we're going DCS keycaps, we're going to be using Cherry MX stabilizers, not Alps pattern stabilizers. So we're going to be using Type Plus Cherry MX stabilizers today. And then for switches, since this is an orange board, I wanted to go with an orange theme. And the only switch I could think of for this are going to be orange tactile Alps. So Alps SKCM Orange. These are tactile Alps. They have a very sharp tactile bump, and they have a 60-gram spring weight, which is really cool. So this is going to be a really awesome build that we're going to do. So we're going to open up the board, kind of go through parts, go through the components. Another part we'll kind of show off too is going to be our daughter board. So this uses just kind of a universal daughter board with a JST connector, which is really nice. So that gives you a lot of compatibility for PCBs. And also for Cherry MX, it'll take any H87 pattern PCB. And the mounting style of this particular board is kind of insane and kind of unique as well. So we're going to put some parts over to the side, like the stabilizers and keycaps. And we're going to open up the case because we're going to have to make some modifications to the plate to accommodate Cherry MX stabilizers. So I'm just going to put these parts off to the side and we'll get the board opened up. So let's get it going, folks. But this is a really, really cool one. What's up, Sandman? Again, also, Sandman, huge thank you to our little business deal we made today, man. I'm really excited to get all that cool stuff from you guys. So this is going to be a really, really cool board. And I'm so friggin' excited for this one. So this one's going to be super, super awesome. So cannot wait. So those of you who are tuning in, thank you. This is a really cool opportunity, and like I said, I really want to give a big thank you to Luke Barron at Barron Boards for this opportunity to look at this board and help promote this project. He's been working on this project for a couple of years, and I'm really excited to really kind of have the opportunity to really spend a lot of time with Luke's prototypes and really get a feel for these boards, try them as daily drivers. And it'll be really nice to actually have both a board built with Cherry MX and a board. Oh, Sandman, I'm really sorry, my man. Like I said, Sandman, I'm definitely, I'll tell you, as we were kind of talking in Discord, I definitely am a big believer in paying it forward and giving back to the community. So, like I said, I'll definitely want to help you with that project we were talking about in Discord earlier. But I would definitely love to do something for your boss, Brian, as like a thank you. I mean, I've gotten some really cool stuff from you guys, and I think you guys do some really cool stuff in the hobby in terms of like trying to save vintage tech and try and give that tech new life. So I definitely will be talking with you further because I would love to do something custom in terms of a keyboard for Brian as like a thank you. I think you guys are doing some really cool stuff in the hobby, and if I ever find myself in Carson City, I definitely have to visit your guys' shop or your warehouse and just see vintage tech heaven, because I'd probably be like a nerd at Disneyland if I were to go to your guys' shop, which would be really cool. So I definitely want to just give a big thank you to that. I definitely want to pay it back and pay it forward for you guys. So let me take the case apart. So here's the top case. So one thing about this board, Luke is trying to target a price point of about $400 to $450. There's a lot of machining that goes into this board. There's a lot of complex curves in the CNC. So it's just kind of crazy looking at all of the curves and just kind of the CNC work that has gone into this particular keyboard. So yeah, got a couple scuffs right there from transport. We'll get those off. There we go. Cool. So yeah, really cool. So we have that big carbon fiber accent in there that's kind of screwed in from the inside, which is really cool. So really, really awesome. So we'll put that top case to the side. And then we'll also remove our plate for right now. So we'll kind of talk about the plate. So the plate uses this really unusual mounting system. So there are these little fingers that stick out. And there are these little mounts that you can stick on the fingers, and that's going to give you what type of typing feel you can do. So I have these ones that are very stiff. They're just literally just like 3D printed squares. So these mounting points represent or kind of replicate a top mount. So very, very stiff, and that's what I want out of Alps. I like a very stiff typing experience, especially with Alps. But they also have a leaf spring one, and they also have a gasket one to give you kind of a more flexible, more bouncy typing feel. So it's a very unique mounting style that Luke has kind of implemented for this particular board. And I'm really excited to see how it sounds with Alps. It sounds pretty interesting with Cherry MX. So I'm curious to kind of see how it shapes up with Alps. So we're going to put the case over to the side for right now. And we're going to be doing some custom work to the plate. And that's where most of our work is actually going to lie for this one. So I got to get my files out. So here's what we have to do. So one thing about Carolos's plate file design, this is what he calls a variable plate design, which is really cool. So this supports either Alps pattern stabilizers or Cherry MX keycaps for DCS Alps. Now, one thing about this, you can switch if you want. If you want to keep Cherry MX stabilizers, that's fine. But if you want to use this, if I want to use this plate with Cherry MX stabilizers for DCS, I have to permanently modify it. So if I were to, we're gonna remove these little tabs right here to open up this space to make clearance for the Cherry MX stabilizers. But if I wanted to use this plate again for Alps pattern stabilizers, I would have to get a new plate. So this is going to be a permanent modification, but whenever I use DCS Alps keycaps, I always make sure that I really want to use DCS because it's also kind of a hassle trying to order through Tom at Hype because he's so backed up. So I know for sure I want to do this. Also on the plate, Carolos has his little signature right here, so we have his insignia right here, which is really kind of cool. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to get my pliers out, and we're going to start modifying this plate. So that's what we're going to do. Let me put my screws over to the side. We're not going to do those for a while. So that's what we got to do. So this is going to take a little bit of time. So we're also going step caps lock. So we're also going to move this spacer on the step caps lock, which is pretty cool. So, so there we go. So we're going to pull these metal parts out. Awesome. And then what we're going to do next is we need to do it for our shift, our enter, and then our backspace. We got to pull those out. So, but yeah, this is going to be pretty cool. So I'm really, really excited for this one. So there we go. We're just kind of pulling these out. So we're just literally just bending them. All right, those are out. There's one. So yeah, it's a good time, everybody. So just kind of getting these pulled out, everybody. Awesome. So we're just kind of using our pliers, and then we're just bending these since this is made of metal. So we just bend them back and forth, and then these little buggers come off. So there we go. So it's going to look something like that. We're still going to have to file down because there's still not enough clearance for our for our Cherry MX stabilizers. So that's what we got to do. So, and again, Tom designs his plates. I mean, cuts his plates where these are pretty easy to snap off, which is nice. So it's not like it takes a lot of force to bend these puppies off. There we go. So cool. Looking good. Yeah, so we'll have to do a decent amount of filing for this. Which is pretty great. All right, so a couple more tabs and then we'll start sanding. Sorry, we're gonna start filing. So that's what we're gonna do, friends. So this is gonna be pretty great. So again, we had a really cool build stream yesterday with the ETAR 87. I was really happy with how that board came out. We had a cool moment where we got rated by Alex Otis's community, which was awesome. So huge thank you for, again, my Alex Otis folks who kind of showed up last night. That was really nice. Kind of took me back. So yeah, we're having fun here, folks. So one more tab we got to snap off, and then we'll be ready to start filing. And once we have these kind of filed down, then we're going to, oh, there we go. Oh. See if I can get a little more of that off. There we go. Cool. Awesome. All right, got all that off, which is nice. Cool. All right, so we got all those tabs pulled off. Now we're going to start filing. So this is going to be the part that's going to take a little bit of time. And then we'll go from there, folks. So yeah, we're just going to take our time and start filing stuff down. So yeah, this is going to take a little bit. But this is the part that definitely is more hand-fitted. Cool, that part's good. Awesome. Pretty good. And then let's do this one. So yeah, we're just filing it down, folks. That's what's gonna. Cool. So there we go. See that caps lock area right there is all filed down. We have our tabs gone, which is really nice. So that's what we got to do to our other 3 areas. So that's what we're going to do. So looking pretty good, folks. Nice. Okay, we got that portion done. Let's go over here, do this one. Almost there. Cool. Cool. Awesome. That side is good. Let's flip it around. Saw this side off. Cool. Let's get a little more material off here. I think that's good. Awesome. Let's go up here, do this one. Like I said, it's going to be pretty good. Sorry, I'm just checking something. Cool. I love that so far. So we're looking pretty good here. Cool. Almost there. Awesome. All right, so that side is done. So we just need to do the 2 up here, our enter and then our backspace, and then we'll be pretty much ready to go. We'll move on to our Cherry MX stabilizer lubing. So We're getting there. Cool, that one's good. Let's move on over here. Looking good. Making some good progress, everybody. So, yeah. So this, again, this is the part of the build that definitely is hand fitted. So, all right, cool. Those sides are done. Let's do the bottom parts up here. Let's pull those off. So, going pretty good, folks. Pretty good here. Awesome. That's good. Let's do this part. Making progress. Oh, hi, friends. Oh, hi, friends. Welcome, everybody. It's always fun having people come on in, so welcome, everybody. So it's always fun. Like it when people come on in. Again, we're doing a Baron Boards BP1, everybody. So we are filing down this plate here so we can use DCS keycaps with Cherry Mix stabilizers. So going DCS tonight, which is pretty cool. So my friends who are jumping in, thank you so much. It's a fun time, everybody. So thank you for popping in. Again, it means a lot. It's always fun having members of the community. This is just a good time when we do have members of the awesome community here. So we're just filing down our plate to get everything going. But yeah, friends, have fun. Again, have fun down there. It's always a good time. There we go. Cool. That's looking good. Let's move over to our backspace now. So we're filing down everything. All right, that's looking good. Awesome. So it's a good time with everybody. So yeah, thank you, friends. Thank you, friends, for popping in. It's always a good time. Love seeing people in the community coming in. And we're just here to have a good time and learn about keyboards. So, and I really just like sharing projects that I am passionate about and aspects of the hobby that I very much enjoy. So Alps is something I think the part of the hobby I'm the most passionate about. And if I can share that with people, that is just amazing. Okay, we're almost there. That's looking good. All right, we just got to do 2 more tabs that we have to file off, and then we'll be good. Almost there. Holy crap, there's a lot of people here. Oh my god. Hi, friends. Y'all are amazing. Thank you. I was not expecting this. This literally happened last night. Folks, I guess I'll do a quick stopping point here really quick. So we're working on the Baron Boards BP1, folks. So those of you who have tuned in, hello. I go by Sergeant Finley. Some of you may know me as the Alps guy. If you see any types of Alps keyboards on like Reddit or Discord, it's most likely my stuff. or stuff I've done for clients and whatnot. So today we're doing a really cool plate. Yeah, so this plate is cut by Tom over at Hype Keyboard. So it's CNC, I think it's CNC cut. I don't know exactly how Tom cuts his plates. But a little backstory on this particular board. I'll kind of show you the board we're working with. I have 2 of them. So what we're going to be doing, I'll take a quick pause while we have people here going to. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good, Blue Keeps. But folks, this is the board we're working with. This is the Baron Boards BP1, which is really cool. So the Baron Boards BP1 is a group keyboard project that is in the prototyping phase and interest check phase. It was created by a guy named Luke Barron, and this is a McLaren P1 supercar themed keyboard. So this is a really, really cool keyboard, and it's Luke's been working on it for a couple of years. And this is a really cool project. When I found out about this project, I reached out to Luke and joined his Discord server and just kind of asked him about the project, and he kind of shared more information about it and just kind of the struggles he's had to try and getting it to group by. Long story short, what's the biggest hurdle that's kind of created the situation this board kind of finds itself in is the current political situation, specifically with tariffs here in the United States. Luke is based here in the United States, and the tariff situation has just kind of made it a very difficult task for him to get this board to group by. So after talking with Luke, I realized this takes in standard H87 pattern PCB. So I pitched the idea to Luke, like, hey, I do a lot of stuff with Alps, especially like custom work. Like, would you be down to like build one of the BP1s with Alps? And Luke said, yeah, he said he'd be down for that. So I got the Cherry MX plate files from Luke, and I sent those over to Careless, and then Careless converted the plate over to Alps. So it's a really interesting in terms of the solution to this board. So this is the plate we're working with. So it was designed by Careless and made by Tom over at Hype Keyboards. So really, really cool thing. So I'm really excited for this particular board. So we're just and we're using DCS keycaps. So we're making a permanent modification to the plate to accommodate Cherry MX stabilizers. So we're almost done. We just do one last bit of filing, and then we'll move on to our Cherry MX stabilizers in the PCB. But Luke sent me 2 of the prototypes. Only 3 of these boards are in existence. So there is a green prototype, an orange prototype, and then a black prototype. Luke sent me 2 prototypes. I only asked for the orange prototype, but he said, hey, I'll send you the green one as well. So I built the green one on stream, I say a few weeks back with Cherry MX. So this is built with Gateron Type S's in GMK white on black. So if you want to see that, check out the VOD up on my YouTube channel, which is really cool. So I'm really excited for this particular board, and I love boards that are collaborations with the community. Last night we did the Bloody Eyes' ETAR 87, and that was a very big collaborative effort. So that was a really interesting board, and again, I really gave a big shout out and thank you to Careless, Tom at Hype Keyboards, and then the keyboard designer himself, the Bloody Eyes. So really, really thankful for that opportunity. And this is another board. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to take a look at this board and do a really cool build with it and showcase not only Cherry MX, but also what you could potentially do with Alps. And one thing about this board is Luke has been talking with a major vendor here in North America to facilitate a group buy for this board. I'm not at liberty to disclose which vendor Luke is talking with. I know which vendor it is. But this vendor is extremely interested, and they're doing further kind of discussions and talks. And if they go through, this would be a group buy that this vendor would run in the second half of 2026. So if you're like a racing fan or a car fan, or just the aesthetic and the curves of this board appeal to you, like definitely, again, look into Baron Boards and look up the BP1 on GeekHack and join Luke's Discord server, and you can get more information. And also you can watch my Cherry MX stream, and we get a lot of more background information on this particular board as we kind of go along. So it's a really cool project. So now we're going to get back to work, folks. I want to finish up the filing and then we'll move on to the Cherry MX stabilizers on this. So this is very much is the hand-fitted part. One thing about Alps, Alps are a lot of work. Alps are a labor of love, and they are much more involved builds compared to like Cherry MX. The best way I can describe, if you want to put Alps in a modern keyboard, those of you on the Cherry MX side who like vintage like Cherry switches, like vintage MX blacks or like West German blacks, the only way to get those are from vintage keyboards from like the 1980s. So if you've ever harvested like vintage Cherry switches, that's essentially how you get Alps switches. They haven't made these switches in almost 30 years. So they've been out of production for a very long time. So to get good Alps switches, you have to get them from vintage keyboards, like old IBM stuff, HP, Apple stuff. Usually have these switches. So that's what's really cool. So we're done doing our filing because we are using DCS Alps keycaps. The DCS Alps keycaps are kind of cool because Alps use their own pattern stabilizer, but with DCS from Signature Plastics, they're kind of a hybrid of the two. They use the Alps mounting style for the keycaps, but the stabilizers, they use Cherry MX stabilizers, which is kind of nice. That's a nice little feature that the plates do, which is really nice. So we're going to put this plate over to the side, and we're going to get our PCB out. So I want to talk about the PCB as we kind of go along. So this PCB also comes from Carolus. This is Carolus's TKL PCB. Now, if you're interested in building a modern Alps keyboard, my recommendation is going to be a TKL or a 60%. The more exotic layouts like 75% or like 65% are really difficult because of that navigation cost column on the side of the keyboard. So for just overall keycap compatibility, stick with TKLs or 60%. Those are going to be your easiest and most accessible form factors to get into Alps. And if you're doing a TKL, Carolus makes these PCBs and they're very affordable. And they support a wide variety of layouts. They have RGB underglow. You can even get a buzzer built onto the PCB, and they also have non-flex cut and flex cut options. And the PCB is 1.2 millimeters, so really good PCB. And as you can see, it supports like a million different layouts. So that's really cool. So so the stabilizers we're going to be going with, some Type Plus stabilizers. These are stabilizers from the Cherry MX side that I really enjoy working with. So we're going to be going with those. So this is the part, if you haven't done Alps and you come from like Cherry MX, this will be the part of the build that is very familiar. So we're going to be lubing Cherry MX stabilizers and getting the PCB ready for this. So what we're going to be doing, since this is a 1.2 millimeter PCB, we need to put shims underneath the stabilizers. Because again, these stabilizers are really designed for a 1.6 millimeter PCB. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to get these little shims and we're going to attach these to the actual PCB. If I can actually get them out of a little baggie, that'd be really helpful. There we go. There we go. So let's get these going, folks. So we're going to attach these to our actual PCB and get this going, folks. So we're going with a full complement of stabilizers for a TKL. So we're going to have a total of 5 stabilizers. So we're not doing any split backspace or split right shift. So, and then we're going a 7U spacebar since since the board is a Win keyless board. So we're going to be going with a 7U spacebar, which will be really nice. Cool. All right, got those. Let's do our spacebar. So we're going with a 7U spacebar on this. So that's going to be really cool. So let me just reorient that so I can get around that. Perfect. Perfect. And then we'll do our next one. So, but yeah, this is definitely, again, some of these projects I've been doing are definitely collaboration projects for sure. So it's a big thank you to the people who help make these really cool projects possible. Last night was very much a team effort, and tonight's project is also just a team effort to make it happen. So there are some amazing people in this community, again, who are just willing to help each other out to do really cool stuff and showcase cool things to, again, people in the community. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity to do cool stuff like this. So I'm really fortunate considering that this board is still in the prototype phase. And these are very expensive prototypes. Prototype boards are not cheap. So this is a really, really awesome opportunity. So really thankful for this. And to be able to show it to everyone on the internet is really nice. So there we go. So yeah, this is a good time, everybody. But like overall, this is a really just kind of exciting project. And I cannot wait to show this board off and have both of these boards completed. It'll be really nice to kind of have these boards kind of make their rounds on Discord and Reddit. For people to kind of see, again, an example in Cherry MX with the green one and the orange one be built with Alps. So that's going to be really exciting stuff. So let's get these going. Perfect. Awesome. Getting that one and our last shim right there. So these are just going to make sure our stabs properly fit on this 1.2 mil PCB. So there we go. Awesome. So we got those. Let's put those back in our little baggie of parts, and then we'll start getting our stabs out, and we'll start lubricating them. So it's going to be a really awesome experience, folks, getting this one going. So there we go. Awesome. So we have our PCB. I'm going to put the PCB off to the side for right now because we're mainly going to be focusing on stabilizers right now. So that's going to be a really cool opportunity. So I'm really excited for this board, folks. Let me just wipe off all this aluminum dust so we don't get that in our stabs. So there we go. So that'll be good. So let's get these stabilizers going. So we're getting all of our stab parts out, and we're just going to kind of go from there, folks. So I'm just getting all these parts out, and we'll get going. So it's really nice to again have these collaborative projects, and I think this is one I've definitely been looking forward to. So as soon as we got the plates in, I was just like, oh my god, we got this one scheduled with Luke, and we coordinated everything. So this is a really, really cool project. So I'm really excited for it. And to be able to show everyone this board is just really cool. This is a really kind of more obscure, really fun project to be able to bring to the community. So I'm really excited for this opportunity. So awesome. So we got those, and then we're going to get our stabilizer wires out. So we got our stab wires, and then we'll get our 7U wire out because we are going 7U for this one. Perfect. Awesome. There we go. All right. Let's throw our stab box to the side. Let's get our dielectric grease out, and we'll just kind of go from there, folks. So, all right. Let's get these stabs assembled, everybody. So this is going to be definitely a fun project. So yeah, this is just this will probably be the part that takes a little bit tedious. So those of you who lube stabs, y'all kind of know the drill. So getting them going. So this is pretty cool. But yeah, it's a good opportunity. This is a really cool opportunity. I'm really excited. Like I said, one thing for me, I'll never be able to own a McLaren in my life. That's too rich for my blood. But I do enjoy Formula One, and the team I root on is Team McLaren. And if you followed Formula One this year, Team McLaren has had an outstanding year. They finally have broken Red Bull's and Max Verstappen's like 4 straight years of dominance over the sport, which is pretty cool. And I always just liked McLaren's teams and the cars that they built, and just kind of their overall philosophy to like racing and just engineering. So it's really cool. So, and I have a couple friends who also follow Formula One, but they're sadly Ferrari fans. So, but yeah, Formula One I'm actually excited to. As just an American, we're going to have another American team join with General Motors and Cadillac, which is going to be super awesome. So it'd be nice having instead of 22 drivers on the circuit next year, which will be really cool. So we'll have 11 total teams, which is going to be really sick. So hopefully they're able to do something within the world of Formula One. So that's going to be cool. So yeah, definitely enjoy motorsports racing. I think it's a really cool world, and to be able to have I have a couple of keyboards that kind of pay homage to cars and just racing in general. So that's really cool. So I have 2 other boards that are car themed. I have my Treeleaf 917, which is themed after the Porsche 917 race car, which is really cool. And then I also have my Keybay Tech W70, which is themed after the Toyota AE86 from Initial D. So, which is pretty cool. So we're just getting these wires lubed in, and that's a little crazy. Let's not do that. There we go. Awesome. So we're just going to get these wires in here, and we'll get them going. So we're going to do our space bar. There we go. Oops. Didn't get that seated in right. There we go. Good times. Cool. All right. Come on. Make sure. Okay, there's our space bar. It's all loaded up. Let's do our next. Start doing our 2Us, and then we'll get it going, folks. But yeah, those of you who come in, thank you, folks. It's a good time. We're here to have fun, and we're here just to discuss and learn about keyboards, everybody. So it's always fun. I don't know enough about PCB design, so if I were to do like a board and I had like a custom PCB that I would need, I would reach out to someone who specializes in that. The person if I were to have a PCB made, the person I would reach out to is Alec Tardy. Alec is the person who designed Careless's TKL PCB, and Alec has actually created a ton of really amazing PCBs for a bunch of vintage boards, including everything from Alps to Space Invaders to Beam Spring stuff. So I don't have that technical knowledge. That's not my talent within the hobby. But if I were to get a custom circuit board, I would reach out to someone who actually knows what they're doing in terms of that realm and arena of the hobby. So I definitely would reach out to my friend Alec to get that one going. So that's just a little bit beyond my just kind of knowledge base. In terms of trying to design a PCB, I would love to learn about it, but it's just that's a little bit beyond what I think I'm capable of at the moment. But I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I'm pretty sure if I try to design a PCB, I think it would catch on fire, to be completely honest. So I'd rather go with someone who's more respected and kind of knows what they're doing. Yeah, you know what's funny? Alec Tardy, So, Gorkas, thank you so much for including that. So, Alec Tardy has a couple of PCBs that support like IBM Model Fs, and I don't know if he has done like a Model M keyboard PCB, but I'm pretty sure Alec could do it. Like, if there is a specific keyboard that you would want to get like a modern PCB for, Alec Tardy would be the person to go. Gorkas just included Alec's website in the chat. Alec would be the person to do it for that type of work. Alec is just a real. If you look at Alec's like portfolio on his website of the PCBs that he's designed, it's pretty impressive. He's done a bunch of Alps conversion PCBs. He's done stuff for like Keymax stuff. He's done a Model F. He's done Northgate OmniKeys, AT101 keyboards, and the list kind of goes on of all the stuff that he's done. So. Yeah, I would reach out. So, Sandman, if it's something you genuinely want to do, reach out to Alec and just kind of pitch him the idea. Alec is also a vintage enthusiast himself, and he's very knowledgeable at circuitry, how electricity works, and how to design. He's a fantastic PCB designer. So definitely reach out to Alec. Shoot him an email or shoot him a message on Discord. I can DM you on Discord a screenshot of his profile. Alec's a pretty quick respondent. He's located on the East Coast. I think like Washington, D.C. areas where Alec is kind of based out of. But yeah, he would be your person you want to reach out to. He's super, super knowledgeable, and I think Alec would absolutely be open to doing it. And who knows, you may be able to find other people who want to get in on that project and have multiple PCBs made, which is really cool. So... but Alec is pretty cool, and also his prices are very reasonable for the amazing work that he does. So yeah, definitely look into Alec Tardy. So his website's included in chat, and he's kind of my go-to guy for like creating modern PCBs to give like old vintage keyboards new life for sure. I have a couple of his PCBs. I have one for a Zenith Z150, and then I also have one that he collaborated with someone for an Apple M0115, which is super sick. So, yeah, Alec Tardy for sure. And Alec's a cool dude. He's really knowledgeable, and he has a really cool and actually very impressive keyboard collection. And just vintage collection in general. Alex has a lot of cool stuff. Like, stuff I would genuinely love to own one day. I'm like, Alex's collection, it definitely makes me envious sometimes, but Alec has also been in the hobby way longer than me. So he's a really, really nice guy. And again, shoot him a message and kind of tell him what board you have and like what you're looking for, and he could definitely kind of see if it's something he would want to do and pick up. So, all right, let's see what we got. But yeah, it's gonna be a good time. But yeah, Alec does some cool stuff, and there's some other PCBs that Alec has for some vintage boards that I want to see in my own vintage projects. So that's definitely something I want to do for the future, which is cool. So, there we go. All right. Yeah, but we also this weekend we're going to be on just for some upcoming streams. We're going to be doing the Hippo TKL with Alps SKCL linear cream switches, which is going to be really cool. So we'll be doing the Hippo TKL and building that puppy with Alps, which is going to be super, super sick. And then this weekend we got to build we're going to be building a Frog TKL with white clicky Alps for an international client, which is going to be super sick. So the international client, really cool. They actually were a referral from Careless. Careless also does custom commission Alps builds, but Careless's commission calendar was kind of full. So Careless actually referred this international client over to me. So Careless is familiar with my work. Careless I would consider a friend. And I was really kind of honored and flattered that he liked my work enough to like trust me with one of his clients. So this client's really, really awesome, and they've been really cool to work with. And we're going to get their board built this weekend, which is going to be awesome. I've done a ton of frog TKLs lately. I have 2 frog TKLs in my personal Alps collection, and they're fantastic. And I've done several client builds in that keyboard. I think that's for modern keyboards. I think that's one of the best keyboards to convert. It's easy to find. It's pretty affordable, relatively speaking, and it's a great candidate for Alps. So if you're looking for like a modern keyboard to convert to Alps, like definitely look into the Frog TKL from Geonworks. Really good board. And it's not just because I'm a fan of Geon or Geon told me to say that. I genuinely like the product. I have 2 Frog TKLs and I have 3 Frog Minis. I have a Frog Mini Ligera, and a Frog Mini Passante. So I have the entire Frog family, in addition to the standard Frog TKL and also the Frog TKL 8K. So I got the entire Geon Frog family, which is really nice. So yeah, those are fun boards. Those are definitely fun boards to build in. So if you're looking for like good modern boards to convert to Alps, like Geon boards make fantastic Alps boards. So, and it's not just because I'm a Geon fan. I have a lot of Geon stuff. So, but yeah, it's a good time, everybody, getting to work with some of these boards and whatnot. So, all right, so we're getting down to our last couple of stabilizers, and then we'll start mounting these and just getting them tuned really quick, and then we'll start putting in our switches, which will be really nice. So, all right, good times. All right, so we're gonna get it going. Oh, you're right. I am missing the Tadpole numpad. Oops, I need to get that. I don't know if I have an Alps PCB though. That's kind of weird though. I should get the Tadpole. My problem is I need an Alps PCB because I need it to match my other frogs. Because all 5 of my frogs are like built with Alps. None of them are built Cherry MX. So I'm like, so if I had that, I would probably have to reach out to Alec and say, yo, Alec, can you make like a numpad like Alps, like a PCB for Alps? Give me a second, folks. What's that?
I am so sorry to ask you this, but what the puppies went in the hallway.
Okay, I'll take care of it later.
No, I mean, it's...
Okay, I'll take care of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so. Okay, I mean, man, sorry, it's happened you live with other people, so it's all good, everybody. So, all right. Cool. Let's get this going. Yeah, so it's a good time, everybody. All right, got that one. Let's pull that excess lube off right there. Perfect. And then we'll get this one going. Cool. All right. All right, got that one in. So, perfect. Got that one, then we got one more stab we got to do, folks. So, but yeah, overall, it's a good time, everybody. And again, I have a few other boards. Like, if you look behind me, that red keyboard right there is a Hex 3CV2, which is a really cool board because it natively supports Alps out of the box, which is pretty cool. So that's another really cool keyboard that I love having in my little collection. I also have a GSK T00, which also supports Alps, which is pretty sick. So definitely a big fan of 60% and also TKLs for Alps. Those are probably the easiest boards to convert. Just because of keycap compatibility. The one issue with Alps, if you get into an Alps build, you're very limited on keycap options. That's going to be your limiting factor when you're working with Alps. Okay, awesome, Sam. Let me take a detour. Let me see an image of this board. Oh yeah, that thing is weird. That's definitely weird. Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah. Hey man, I'd say send it to Alec. Send an image to Alec, and you'll probably be able to find it. I mean, it might be able to. Do you know what type of switch mechanism it uses? Is it beam spring? Is it Alps? Is it cherry? Like super curious as like what switch type it is. But like I said, Alec has made some PCBs for some pretty weird keyboards. So, okay, let me grab a Frog Ligera and I'll kind of show you. So for a Frog Ligera, I can kind of show you what you're gonna need. So, let me grab my Frog Ligera. I actually have it right here. So, oh, rubber dome. Oh yeah, you need a custom PCB of that. So here's my Frog Ligera. So this one is built with linear green Alps. So these are linear Alps, and they use original Macintosh keycaps. So essentially what you're going to need is you're going to need an Alps PCB. My recommendation is look for a Heine Solder H60 PCB or look for an Apple T solder Alps PCB. Those are going to be kind of your two Alps PCB options. Heine H60 PCBs, you probably have to do some shopping around to be patient on Mech Market, but you specifically want the solder version. When you're doing Alps, there's no hot swap. Solder is the only way to go. And the Heine PCBs are really cool because, again, they support Cherry MX and Alps. The other thing you're going to need is a custom plate. Now, depending on what type of keycaps, if you want Macintosh keycaps, these are fantastic keycaps. You can get these keycaps online, or heck, if you, WF Brown, if you want a set of Macintosh keycaps, shoot me a DM on Discord and I can send you, I'd be happy to send a set of keycaps your way. But if you want to use Macintosh keycaps, they need a specific plate. And I can also send you that plate file so you can get that plate file made. So it's a tray mount 60%. Plate file. So once you have the PCB and the plate of the keycaps of your choice, then you find keycaps. My recommendation is going to be just like Macintosh keycaps or just like keycaps off like an old Dell keyboard. I have a bunch of different plates depending on what layout you want to work with, and then you're going to need switches. I also do custom Alps commissions. So like heck, if you wanted me to convert your Ligera, I could build you like a PCB switch and plate assembly, and then I could just mail that to you. Or if you want parts, I can kind of give you advice on what to get and what switches are best and things like that. If you're going to build Alps, my recommendation is going to go with your tactile or their clicky switches. Linear Alps are fine, but realistically, I prefer the tactile and clicky versions. The linears are just kind of whatever. Like they're basically like Cherry MX Reds. There's nothing special about them. So, but yeah, they're really cool. It's a really cool option. So that's my Frog Mini Ligera. I also have my GeonWorks Frog Mini. Ignore the 1.25U modifiers. I'm waiting on a keycap set to come in for this board, so this is just temporary. So another cool board to convert. But here's my Passante. It's currently unbuilt. It's waiting for, to be built. It's just I have a backlog of projects, so this thing's just sitting bare bones on my desk, but it does look really good. It's also almost it's like 8 pounds. This thing, so it's solid brass case and it has a steel weight on the bottom just because. So definitely shoot me a DM on Discord and I can kind of walk you through what you want to do. Like if you're interested in having me do it for you, or if you just want guidance on where to get parts, I can definitely kind of just give you like a kind of a walkthrough on what you need to do. Just be aware, Alps are a lot of work. And it's definitely not something I'd recommend for someone who's new or like a beginner. It's very, very involved build process, especially with getting the switches to the point in which you want them. Because one thing about Alps, you're going to have to get switches from old keyboards. And unless you find a really pristine keyboard, you're going to get Alps switches that are going to be in pretty clapped condition. So the switches are going to have to be cleaned so they don't feel like garbage. So that's just the one thing with Alps is they're just the way the switches are designed. They're very prone to dust and just all kinds of crap getting into them. So you really want to be mindful of that. So there we go. So yeah, you definitely want to clean them up. So then that's like restoring the switches is kind of the most involved process in harvesting them. So it's a good times. All right. Awesome. Perfect. Let's get that one going. A little more lube on that. Perfect. But yeah, it's a good time, folks. So we're just getting this one going. Perfect. All right. And there we go. So that is awesome, folks. Awesome. So there we go. Pretty cool. So we're done with that lube part for right now. So now we're going to start screwing in our stabilizers to the PCB. So we're going to start mounting our stabilizers, and then we'll again start, we'll be ready, basically ready to start soldering, which is going to be the exciting part. So we'll finally be able to see the board come together and get the switches on, which I'm really, really excited for. So we're just getting these Cherry MX stabilizers. So this is the part of the build that does look familiar if you come from the Cherry MX side, which I think most people do. This is the part that it looks very familiar. But most of the time we do Alps. Again, we're doing Alps pattern stabilizers. Let me just see if I can get this one right there. There we go. And then that one. Perfect. And then we'll get our backspace up here. Awesome. There we go. Let's get our screws. And then we'll be ready, pretty much ready to go. So that's going to be awesome. So got those. Let's get our screws and all those goodies out. All right, so that's pretty good. Let me get my screwdriver out, and we'll kind of go from there. Cool. All right, let's flip this over, and let's start screwing in our stabilizers. Cool. All right, got that. And once we've got our stabs in, we'll have to do one more modification to this PCB for this particular board. All right, so we're screwing in our stabs, but that's going to be really cool. But yeah, this is a really exciting project, and I'm very excited to see it and to get this board showcased for everyone to see it in all of its glory. So we'll have an example in Cherry MX and also Alps, which is going to be really awesome. So I'm really excited for this board. Okay, let's get this one. That one's good. All right. Looking good, everybody. No, come on. The washers are being a little bit stubborn to get in. Cool. There we go. Let's do our screw in the backspace, and then we're going to get it going, folks. And we've just hit the hour mark, which is really good. So that's always fun, everybody. So thank you so much. But yeah, it's a good time, everybody. So nice seeing folks kind of jump on and join in. So we got that one. So we got a couple more screw points, and then we should be good to go on this one. All right. Yeah, this one is looking really good. Cool. Almost there. Oh, come on. Oh, dropped the screw. That's not good. There we go. Cool. Pretty good, folks. Pretty good. Awesome. Looking good. We got 2 more screws, and then we'll have our stabilizers in here. Okay, let me get this last washer out. And then our last screw. Perfect. So again, this is the part that is a little familiar for our Cherry MX folks. Cool. All right. So there we go. We have our 5 Cherry MX stabilizers on here. So, and again, when you're doing Alps, the only way to use Cherry MX stabilizers is if you're going to use DCS Alps keycaps from Signature Plastics. So if you want to get into Alps and build a Alps build, there's only 6 keycap sets from Signature Plastics with their DCS line that ever were made for Alps, and they're kind of expensive. So just beware if you want to build with these keycaps. Again, just be prepared to pay a premium for them. So, and they haven't made these sets in a number of years. So here's the last modification we need to make to this PCB. So the USB-C port, it's not going to be using a mounted USB-C port. That's going to kind of be over here on the side of the PCB. We are actually going to be using a unified daughter board and a JST connector. So we're actually going to be permanently modifying. This is a breakaway USB-C connector. So we'll never be able to use a USB-C port again, but this is the PCB I plan to keep in the BP1. So we're just breaking that off. There we go. So broke away our USB-C port. So there we go. Yeah, there we go. There's our USB-C. So that USB-C is no more, everybody. So there we go. So just want to plug my JST in really quick, and we'll make sure everything's good to go. But yeah, this PCB is good, nice and solid. So let's plug her in really quick. And awesome, we got that Pro Gamer RGB right there. So we do have underglow RGBs. This is a Vial PCB, which is really nice. So I got that Pro Gamer RGB. So that's pretty cool. Open up Vial because I do want to turn off this RGB, especially when we're testing. I just want to turn off the Rainbow Unicorn Puke. So let me go to my lighting really quick, and we're going to go to a solid color. And we're just going to make it McLaren orange. There we go. Got like a nice orangish color, so I think that's pretty good. So awesome. Yeah, I want to make sure everything's programmed the way I want it. So yeah, we're gonna make sure we're H87, so we're not F13 on this puppy, and we are win keyless on this one. So we're gonna go blink and then blink. Perfect. Awesome. Good times. All right, so we're gonna unplug that, and we're gonna put on our plate, and we're gonna get going. All right, so there we go, folks. So I want to do a little bit of tuning on our. I want to do add a little bit of lube into our stabs really quick, just to kind of top them off. All right, cool. Should be good. All right. Let's put our files away. We're good. I just want to rub that lube around in our housings. Cool. All right. Cool. 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 Almost there. Cool. All right. Just gonna wipe any excess off these puppies, and then we'll be good to go, folks. Cool. All right, there we go. So let's get our plate on here. Everything fits down, and there we go, friends. So you can see that's how our plate is going to look. Looks really nice. So that's really nice. So fantastic. So let's start getting some orange Alps, and let's start putting these on. So we're going to just put in our 4 corners first, and then we'll kind of go from there. So we're going to put in 4 switches just to kind of hold everything in place. We'll solder those in, and we'll go from there. So let's get these 4 corners in here. Perfect. Yep. Pulled up too quickly on that. Cool. Awesome. All right, we have our 4 corners right now. Put these orange Alps to the side. So let's kind of get this going, folks. So we're going to cool. All right, let's fire up our soldering iron really quick and we'll get going, folks. All right, let's make sure our temperature is dialed in. And we'll get our solder wick going. All right, so we have our soldering iron heating up. So we'll get that going, and then we're going to solder in these 4 corners. So I'm going to get my little solder vent going, and we're going to get going. Cool. All right. So good times. Awesome. Got those. Let's do these other pins right here. Cool. Awesome. And then this last corner. Oh yeah, dude. Northgate Omni keys and Focus FK2001s are sick. Speaking from experience, as someone who has a lot of those on hand, they're awesome. All right, cool. Let's flip that around. So we have our PCB held down now with our plate. So there we go. Got our 4 kind of keys kind of holding it down. And that's looking pretty sick. So I love that. So looking good. All right, let's put our stabilized keys in here. Let's put our step caps lock in here. Cool. Step caps. Let's put our keys right there. Let's get our bottom row in here. Let's get our space bar going. And let's do our modifiers right here. And then we'll do the 3 at the top here. Kind of do our perimeter keys for right now. But yeah, those look really sick. Yeah, dude, Taihao is pretty sick. I freaking love Taihao. Those are really, really good keycaps for what they are. So here we go, folks. So we're gonna start off with soldering in these switches for right now, and then once those are in, we'll move on to our F row and then our number and our alphas. So let's really start getting it going, folks. Let's get it going. All right. Let's get that soldering iron. Awesome. Spacebar is securely held in, which is nice. Cool. Let's get this bottom row going. Fantastic. Good times. Just want to check one thing. Yeah, good times, everybody. Good times. Nice. Cool. Looking good, everybody. So now we're moving over to our arrow cluster. Holding those switches down. Cool. Awesome. Looking good. Awesome. All right. What's up, Wolf? Thank you for coming by. I just want to say thank you again. I build keyboards here. I really specialize in like Alps stuff and like vintage stuff. But I'll pretty much build anything. I mean, I got my Class 65 V3 in today, so we'll definitely be building that probably sometime next week or over the weekend, which will be really cool. So we got a lot of cool stuff. Again, Alps is kind of like my specialty and the niche I've kind of filled. But one thing I also do like dabble in Cherry Mex. Like I have a pretty extensive Cherry Mex collection. So everyone's welcome. I'm a big believer. Like I want my Twitch streams or my YouTube channel or just my social media pages to be open to everybody. So anyone and everyone is welcome here. So I'm a big believer the keyboard hobby is for everyone. So everyone is always welcome. So that's like the big thing I am always a big proponent of. Keyboards are for everyone. Give me a second. I dropped my solder lead. So it's all good. So yeah, we're just soldering in these switches. We're actually working on Alps switches. So very different from like your standard Cherry MX builds. So this is a really cool build. Awesome. Cool. Good times, everybody. So we're just soldering in our navigation cluster right now. So, and then we're just going to do our modifiers, and then we'll see how everything's holding up. Alright. Looking good, so awesome. Got those. Let's move on to our modifiers over here, and we'll kind of get it going. Awesome. Looking good. Awesome. Perfect. And then we're just going to this one and move on to the far side of our modifiers. Nice. Looking good. Alright, let's move our little vent over here, and we'll do the modifiers over here. Awesome. Cool. Oh. seconds. Almost done. Cool. All right. Let's kind of move this over to the side. Let's kind of see how this is shaping up. Look at that, folks. So look at that, everyone. That's looking really nice. So we have all of our modifier keys, our navigation cluster, and then our arrow cluster. And of course, our bottom row. So these are really awesome switches. So really nice. So I want to do a quick little test. I've installed some switches so far. One thing I do with Alps is these are 40-year-old switches, so I do my I usually like to test them once we have soldered them in. So just kind of seeing what's our progress so far. If there are faulty switches, there is a method to kind of repair them and whatnot. So, or we'll flat out replace them. So that's what we're going to see what we can do. All right. Give it a second. We're loading up, everybody. There we go. All right. Awesome. Spacebar is faulty. All right, everything but our... Oh, never mind. I'll reset that and try that again. Yeah, so our spacebar is being weird. So let me just do a quick test of our spacebar really quick. I want to try one little thing. It is registering. It's probably not making full contact. So I just do what I do is I squeeze these switch plates a little bit, and then that usually helps with the contact. So... But also, blue keys, if you're on here, man, we're using gray switch plate Orange Alps. So these are much earlier Orange Alps. So these are early in their production. So that would put these Orange Alps probably around 1986, 1987, around that time period. So in terms of age for these switches, at least. There we go. Spacebar is good. All these switches are good so far. Awesome. Just go to my lighting really quick. We're just gonna... Yeah. So these are really good switch plates, so I don't think I should have any issues with these. So we should be fine. All right, we're gonna X out via. And then I guess we got our orange lights, which are really nice. So, all right, we're good for right now. So let's put in more switches and we'll start soldering those in. We'll put in the rest of the switches and start soldering them in. So yeah, we're going with earlier, or I figured I'd go with earlier gray switch plate Orange Alps. Yeah. Well, no, I've seen black switch plates on ambers. So I have a set of amber Alps that have the black switch plates. So ambers as well. Don't forget those. So, all right, we're going to put in our F row. We're going to do our F row. And then we'll move on to the rest of the cluster. So we got a nice amount of switches we're doing, folks. So now this F row is looking really nice. There we go. So that'll just round out our perimeter. So we'll do this perimeter really quick, and then we'll get it going. So we're just going to solder in our F row. And then we'll get going, folks. All right, let's pull our vent over here, and we'll start doing our F row. get this one soldered in. Good times. We'll get a little bit more right here. Cool. Let's go a little bit more right there. Good times. Cool. Making our way through, folks. Making our way through. Awesome. Looking good so far. Yeah, that cluster's looking good. Awesome. Making a really good time, folks. We've been here for about an hour and a half, so that's pretty good. Good times. Once we have this F row, then the alphas are pretty easy. Nice. Cool. So making our way down, folks. Making our way down. Cool. Give me a second. Cool. Looking good, folks. Looking awesome. Awesome. Good. We got 4 more in our F row, and then we should be pretty good, folks. Almost there, folks. Give me a second. My solder lead cut on something. Cool. Cool. All right. Got the F-row done. Just want to test my F-row really quick. And we'll kind of work our way through. And then we'll just move on to our alphas and our numbers, which would be pretty good. But yeah, look at that, folks. Starting to look like a keyboard. So. Oh, such a satisfying sound. Love Orange Alps. One of my personal favorites. Okay, there we go. Awesome. Let's put these ones on here. Got our orange RGB. There we go. Let's go to our lighting. All right, let's go to our matrix test. Just make sure our key map is correctly labeled. Yeah, we're good. All right, let's go to our awesome. Oh, nice. So, okay, quick question. 3D keycap question. Were those green Alps linear? Did they feel linear or did they feel tactile? That's going to be a big difference. Like, linear green Alps are very common, but if they were tactile neon green Alps, those are very, very rare and very, very expensive. So, do you happen to know if they were linear or tactile? Because that's just going to make a big difference. Because I have a green Alps build, like, I have a green linear Alps build. Like, these switches are they're not cheap, but they're relatively easy to get. Okay, a lot happened. Okay, interesting. So let me tell you, there are two types of green Alps. So you have green linear Alps, which are pretty easy to get. You can get those. You can find a lot of boards on eBay that have those. Also, my F-row works, so we're good there. So, but if you're talking green tactile Alps, they're most commonly known as neon green Alps. Those are very, very rare and very expensive. Like, if I wanted enough green Alps to make like a TKL or like a full size, you're looking about $20 to $30 a switch. So for like a full size, you're looking at between $2,000 and $3,000 in just the switches. Versus if I want linear green Alps, like $50 to $100 for a switch set. So that's kind of the big difference. So it really, really matters if they're linear or tactile. Because again, neon greens, I don't even own a set. Like, Careless doesn't even own a set because they're just so ridiculously expensive. Like, I have some keyboard builds that are north of $1,000, but that's the entire build all in with like switches, keycaps, plate, PCB, all that stuff. Both like Alps and Cherry MX. But yeah, but the tactile neon green Alps are just kind of crazy. You used to be able to get them relatively easy before COVID, but during the pandemic and the lead up to the pandemic, scalpers just pretty much bought up all the stock, and they've just been asking insane prices since then. So they're essentially unobtainium because they're just prohibitively expensive. A Switch, $20 to $30 a Switch is ridiculous. So if that person had a neon green Alps build, they either have had it for a very long time, or they're made of serious money and they paid that $2 to $3 grand just for the Switches. So it's pretty crazy. That's very much a rich man's game. I mean, the build we did last night, which was my ETAR 87, we built that with brown Alps, and those are $4 to $5 a Switch. So we put about $600 worth of Switches in that keyboard last night. So yeah, Alps are definitely not cheap. I mean, the cheap Alps are going to run you 85 cents to $1 a Switch. So, and I know in like the Cherry MX world, when you hear any type of Switch north of 50 cents a Switch, people are like lose their minds. Alps are not cheap. That's the only thing. That's just the thing I tell people. Even they're quote commonly available and cheap Alps, like they're not cheap. Like they're these are very expensive Switches, and it's just because of how old they are and how hard they are to get. I mean, it's not hard to get Alps. Yeah, I have like 200 amber Alps. I'm sitting on a nice stockpile of amber Alps. I've just gotten really lucky finding the keyboard, the computer those were in. Yeah, but ambers and browns are the most expensive Switches that are accessible still. $4 to $5 is still crazy. I mean, the fact that I put $600 worth of brown Alps in a keyboard last night is still kind of insane to me. So if you want to check out the ETAR, you probably saw it. Just check on Reddit, or I put in a bunch of Discord servers. That board is freaking sick. And I wanted to definitely showcase that board. SKCL Browns, SKL Creams. SKCL Creams aren't that bad. I'm putting SKCL Creams in my Hippo on Thursday. So you can get those in the Bondwells, which you can get a Bondwell for like $250. So they're not that bad. And a Bondwell comes with like 82 Switches. So you get a pretty decent amount for what you get. Still not cheap, by the way, but it's still pretty good for what you get. So, all right, coming along, folks. There we go. No. All right. Three more, and then we'll solder these puppies in, folks. All right, there we go. Look at that. Look at that. That's a beauty right there, everybody. Look at that. That's sweet. Look at that. That's good looking. So, all right, let's solder these puppies in, everybody. But yeah, Alps is you think Cherry MX is expensive. Wait till you get into Alps, or heck, even high-end custom Topere. When you get into like Topere, ooh, that's the expensive part of the hobby. So yeah, Cherry MX, I'm not saying it's cheap, but trust me, when you get into Alps, Topere, that's where this hobby gets expensive. So it's kind of soldering in switches across it just to kind of hold them all down. Cool. Awesome. Cool. All right, let's do it right here. Alright. Give me a second, folks. Just my Amazon guy. Awesome. Just kind of getting certain switches soldered in. So I think we're good. Alright, let's start going through our alpha cluster here. Cool. Awesome. Cool. Looking good, folks. All right. Cool. Awesome. Looking good, folks. All right. It's half the alpha cluster. Let's move on to the other half. All right. Right. Cool. All right. We're getting there, folks. We are almost done. Making some good progress, folks. Awesome. Good times. Nice. Yeah, we're getting there, folks. Nice. Looking good, folks. We're almost there. Awesome. All right, last few switches, folks. Let's get a little bit more solder lead. Cool. Let's get this going. Awesome. Cool. Got like 5 more switches. Cool. One more switch, folks, and I think we'll be good to start putting testing, and then we'll put it in the case. All right, there we go, folks. We are done. All right, so let's coil up my solder wick, and we'll be going. Awesome, awesome, everybody. So let's put that to the side. Here we go, folks. That's our soldered PCB. We have all those solder points in, which is pretty good. Let's flip that around. And look at that, folks. Look at that. That is amazing. Those orange Alps look so good. So, look at those. Fantastic. So I want to get my JST plugged in. And then let's just test our alpha and our numbers, and we should be good. If there's any faulty switches, we'll see if we can fix them. And if not, we'll desolder them. But we've had some pretty good luck so far. Yeah. Oh my god, if only the plate was orange. I mean, I thought about getting like a red plate, but I just thought, nah, black is fine. Because there are black accents on this one. I want the keycaps not to be like completely overshadowed, so let's get our matrix tester going. Let's get vial out. There we go. Let's go to our matrix tester. Let's go into it. Good times. All right, we're good. We had no desoldering today. That's a first with orange switch plates. So I guess this batch, when I harvested it, was pretty good. So I'm just going to test the rest of the switches again. All right, we're going to... And we're good. All right, let's get this unplugged. Let's get our case. And let's start putting this board back together, which is really cool. So that is really good. We've had a very good success rate with this. So let's get our top and our bottom case, and then we'll put our plate in there. I'm just going to wipe off the bottom case really quick. Let's get our, actually we got to get our JST mounted, so let's get that going first. Oh, I don't have our screws for it. Let me go grab that. Cool. All right, let me get my screwdriver and let's get this JST mounted. So let's pull these out really quick. No dead switches is a first with gray switch plates. So I guess I just had bad luck up until this point. So that was really, I'm really thankful that did not happen. So this is the most successful I've ever been with gray switch plates. No desoldering today. So that is awesome. So give me a second. I got to go grab my box really quick that has all my hardware. Where'd it go? There it is. I got to get some screws. All right, give me a second. I have this box that I got. There we go. There's our screws. So cool. We got some hardware to screw these puppies in. Perfect. Cool. So I'll mount our JST. Yeah, you're right about that. Do you have my multimeter? I just need to get my alligator clips ordered, and then yeah, we'll definitely be able to start testing switches a lot more effectively, which will be nice. So let's just get this daughter boards screwed down, and then we'll be able to put in our PCB. So we're on the home stretch, folks. We're almost there. We just want to mount our PCB, screw the case together, and then we are going to be in business. There's that. Just mount this little part right here. Oh. All right. So tie-held caps do not support Cherry MX stabilizers. They support Alps plate mount stabilizers, and they support Co-Star stabilizers. So if you look at the bottom of some of the tie-held keycaps, it may look like they have Cherry MX mounts. Those are not Cherry MX mounts. Those are going to be Co-Star stabilizer mounts. So that's kind of its own thing. So just FYI. So tie-held, you have to use some type of Alps pattern stabilizers. So the only Alps keycaps that are going to support Cherry MX stabilizers are going to be DCS keycaps, and those are going to be from Signature Plastics. So there's only 6 DCS Alps keycaps that have ever been produced. I have 4 of them. So they're going to be DCS Alpine Winter, DCS Pingmaster, DCS Yuri, DCS 9009, DCS Reaper, and then DCS White on Black. I have 4 of them. I have every DCS Alp set except Pingmaster and Yuri in my personal collection. So there we go. We are mounted, which is really good. Yeah. Oh, 9009 is amazing. Here, I'll get my 9009. I'll show you a really cool board I have that's converted. Let me grab it. So it's over here in the back over here. So here's my board with 9009. This is my 75% Alps build. This is my TGR Tomo. Yes, the TGR Tomo can take Alps if you have the solder PCB. So I put white clicky Alps in here. So really, really cool board. So if you're into 75%, this is one of the only 75% that you can convert to Alps, and it makes a fantastic Alps board. So TGR Tomo, really cool, and this is my DCS 9009 set, so it looks really sick. DCS Alpine Winter I have here. That looks really, really good. So here's my DCS Alpine Winter. Really nice set. That's on my custom Cerakoted JO2. So DCS sets are really, really cool. And then DCS Reaper I don't have on a board. It's kind of waiting for a future build. But we're getting DCS white on black on this board tonight. So let's get everything mounted. Oh my gosh, that looks sick. All right, let's flip this board over and we're going to get our bottom screws in here. All right. So let's get our case screws and then we're on the home stretch, everybody. So this is looking really good. Yeah, but also the Taiho keycaps are really nice. So they're $50. They're double shot, high quality double shot PBT. And they're great keycaps. Taiho actually has been producing stuff for electronics since the 1960s. And they actually produced Alps keycaps back in the day. So they were one of the original Alps keycap manufacturers back in the day. So they have a long and storied history and a very good reputation. Their stuff's really good. All right, here we go, friends. Let's flip that over. Let's move my little work mat out of the way. And there we go. That is awesome. So let me kind of show this off. Let me just kind of get my tools out of the way just to, since we're just kind of clear the desk off really quick. So let me just put my tools away because we're pretty much done building this board. We just got to put keycaps on and we're pretty much done with this board. So all right, let's clean off my workspace. There we go, friends. But yeah, look at that, folks. Yeah, so this is really good. So look at that. Those orange Alps look so sick. I do want to take a picture of this just for Luke Barron. So that looks amazing. Yeah, this is a sick board, and I'll put it next to the Cherry MX one. So both boards are getting DCS white and black. But again, this one's built with Cherry MX. This is built with Gatoron Type S switches. So yeah, Gatoron Type S. Yeah, Type S. So they both have the same stabilizers too, which is really nice. Both have aluminum plates. So the only difference is one is built with Alps, one is built with Cherry MX. So let's get our keycaps out and let's put them on, everybody. So we have Signature Plastics. Once we get the keycaps on, we'll do a quick little sound test with everyone, and then we'll get on out of here, folks. So there we go. So let's get them on. Let's get these keycaps going. So I'll have the green one out too, just to kind of showcase both of them. So yeah, this is super sick. Oh yeah, they're amazing. The Type S's are awesome. I love them. So okay, so let's get our stabilized keycaps on here. I know space bars are kind of weird. Give me a second. There we go. That feels really nice. So let's put on our shift right here. That's really nice. Our left shift. These stabs are being a little weird over here. Just wipe these stabs off really quick. Cool. Got that one going. Let's get our set caps lock on here. Let's get our backspace. And then our enter. Where's our enter? Come on, where are you? There we go. Yeah, that shift is being weird. We'll get that dialed in soon. So, all right, we got those. Let's get the rest of our keycaps in here. But yeah, they're basically going to look the same in terms of keycaps, but again, these are two very, very differently built keyboards. So that's the thing about this board. So it's going to be really nice seeing this board come together. Oh man, this is great. I have 13 on this one. We're not using that one. What are those? Looking really good. I'm loving how this is coming out. This is really sick. Like, this board is like really coming together. Yep, that end didn't get put in the right spot. That's the wrong profile end. Yeah, we're getting this coming along. So yeah, this is looking really good. So I'm really loving this board, and I think Alps was definitely a good choice for this board. Yeah, this is definitely cool. Yep, put one on the wrong portion right there. Cool, looking good. Yeah, we're filling in, folks. This is looking really, really good. There's my tab. Yeah, this is looking really good. Oh, that's the wrong one. Nope. It's a different one. We're getting there, folks. We are getting there. Press F to pay respects, everybody. There we go. We got our letter F. We can finally press F to pay respects on this board. That's the correct page down. Perfect. Now we're just looking for our delete. I know, press F to pay respects. So MX tactiles are fine. I have some good MX tactiles that I really like. But yeah, Alps are where it's at for sure. Faux show. Almost there, folks. There's our delete key. And then M. Oh my goodness. Let me just put these leftover keys. Yeah, there we go, folks. That looks pretty sick. All right, let's see this, folks. So yeah, we have both Baron boards here. I do want to do one last test of the board assembled. So let's get my vial opened up. Cool. All right, let's go to my matrix tester and just retest everything. Sounds good. All right, my 2 and my Y being a little bit weird. So we're gonna do a quick little compression test. We're just gonna do a quick little, we're gonna take the keycaps off and just do a quick little removal of them. So let's unplug this board and let's get those switches adjusted really quick. So we're just gonna do a little adjustment of these switches just to make light, just double check. These switches do work. It's just, I think these switch plates just need a little bit of nudging really quick and we'll get it going. So cool. All right, and that's the one cool thing about Alps, everybody, is you can work on these switches while they're soldered in. That's something that is a really cool feature that is not included on Cherry MX switches. So I really enjoy that you can do this on Alps. So if this were Cherry MX, we'd have to desolder the switches. So this is really nice that we can do this and get that one in all the way. Let's get that in again. Cool. Let's try that again. All right, let's open a vial really quick. All right. So this one is good. All right, that one's good. We want to just double check this one again. That one's not making the best contact for some reason. So we're just going to look at this one again. So we're going to do a little bit more compression. Know the switch is working. Cool. So that's part of the fun of Alps, everybody. All right, that switch is not registering the way I would like it. So we are actually gonna do a quick bit of desoldering, unfortunately. So that is okay. That was working when we had it, but sometimes when we just assemble the case. So we're gonna do a quick bit of desoldering really quick, folks, so you can see my desoldering process. So let's get that out. We just wanna make sure this works 100%. So that's what we're gonna do. So thought we were done, but we're not, folks. So that's just kind of the nature of Alps. Is they're an involved process, and that's just kind of how we do. We take our time, take our patience, and that's what I say when I say Alps are very involved. This testing and troubleshooting is just what we deal with when we're working with switches that are 40 years old. So. That case off. Move our screws over here. Let's get that JST unplugged. There we go. Cool. That's all good, everybody. So let's put our case screws over here. Let's get the desolder gun out. I always just kind of keep it out just in case. All right. That Y. So we are 6, 2, 4, 6 right here. That's the switch we're desoldering, so let's get that one going. All right, so. Cool. Let's just wait for that red light to get undone, and then we'll get this one going, folks. So that's what we say with Alps, everybody. It is a process, but that's what we do. Here we go. Awesome. There we go. And that should just pull. Oops, sorry about that. That should just pull out. Awesome. Now we're going to swap the switch plate on this one. So it's just our switch plate that's being faulty. So let me grab a new switch plate. There we go. Well, not new, but a newer switch plate replacement. So let's pull this one out. This one's faulty. No good. Awesome. Let's get that new one installed and put this switch back in. So it's the switch plates that give out on these switches. So the switch plate is what makes the contact, sends the signal. It also has the pins. So this is the part that does give out blue keys. We were not completely free of desoldering. So, but hey, it all works out. So let me just get the solder this one in really quick. All right, there we go. Got that switch in there. We're good. All right, let's get that bottom case and let's get that JST plugged in. And we'll kind of see how that... Okay, let's see. Give me a second. Let's get that. There we go. Let's plug that in really quick. Alright, got our RGBs. Let's get our vial open really quick. And let's open that up. Yeah, sorry, I'm gonna, my auto mod is set the way it is just because of my day job, so. Alright. Alright, we're good. Alright, we are good. That's really nice. Let's put the desolder gun back. Alright, yeah, my auto mod hates me. I do have to adjust it, but while we're at it, while we have it open, I do want to look at this shift really quick. The stabs are just being really sluggish, so... I'm gonna add a little bit of lube here. Give me a second. I don't know why the stab is being so sluggish. So, yeah, just part of this tuning we gotta do. Cool. Let me try that. So, it's all about this kind of self-fitment and self-fitting. Now I'll just put a stronger spring in this one. What the heck? Huh. That sucks because I am a left shifter, so... Alright. Huh, that's so weird. I don't know why this is being really weird. Pull that control off because I want to get into that housing. Okay. Alright, we're going to try something really quick. I got to go grab something out of my closet. It's in one of these jars. I got to find it. Alright. Give me a second. We have plans and how to do this. Give me a second, folks. I got to find something. Not that one. Okay, is it in this one? No, it's not in this one. Okay, give me a second. Where the heck is it? Looking for one of my switches. There we go. This one. I'm going to do a switch. I'm going to do a spring swap. Because why not? Alright. We're going to do a spring swap on this. So, that's what we're going to do. We're just going to put a heavy spring in this, and then that'll hopefully loosen up my stabilizer. Cool. So we're going to swap this spring. So, this silver switch here has a very heavy spring in it. So we're going to put that spring in it. All right, let's do this. All right, let's try that. Let's put this JST back in. It's all part of the process of Alps. All right, let's try this again. Yeah, it works. I just put a heavier spring in. I mean, these, to be fair, Orange Alps have a very light spring. So, there you go. So, the benefit of having like a metric crap load of Alps parts on hand. So, it all works out, everybody. There we go. All right. So, let's turn off our soldering iron. We are good to go. All right. Let's get this keycap and board attached. And let's get her built, everybody. Let's finish this. Let's get this show done, finished up. All right. There we go. All right. Cool. All right, now we're done. Let's do one last test of everything, and I think we should be good. So yeah, Blue Keeps, we did have to do some troubleshooting, my man. So there we go, friends. Let's get it going. All right, let's get that plugged in. Also, let's turn on the underglow light because we do not need it. And there we go. Let's do my matrix tester. Cool. Cool. All right, folks, we are ready. I want to do one last test in VIA with the switch tester. I just like using the vial and the VIA one, so it's just allowing me to do my test. I'm just very thorough in my testing, so I want to see everything properly register. All right, we're good there. All right, so far so good. All right, friends, here we go. All right, now we are fully tested. This board works. Now, I do want to show one little touch that we do have with the boards that is just really cool. So let me get this one out. So one thing that we do have for these boards are these included wrist rests that really bring the McLaren theming together. So there's the wrist rest for the orange one, and I'll bring out the wrist rest for the green one as well. So see if I can just slide these down just a little bit more, just so we can get them both in frame. But there we go, friends. So they're both boards. They are really, really cool. They both have white on black. I think white and black kind of stays neutral because I think the star of the show is the coating on these particular boards. But we're going to do a sound test with the orange one. So this is fully tested, ready to go, everybody. This board is awesome. I love it. So here's our stabilizers. All right, let's see it. And here's the Cherry MX version. So, yeah. All right, everybody. I think we're good. I think we are ready and good to go, folks. So, this is the Baron BP1 built with Alps, everybody. Oh, dude, I think the Alps one sounds so much better. Again, that's just my bias towards Alps. Very old school clack. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the green one and the Cherry MX, but I think this board is just really sick. So this board is awesome. It is beautiful. I love it. So, again, folks, stay tuned. Again, be on the lookout on Reddit and Discord for pictures of this. Also, I'll be on my my personal Instagram page. The full VOD of this build stream will be on YouTube later this evening, so you're welcome to watch it in its entirety, learn more about the board. But this is the Baron Boards BP1. So this is the orange one is built with Alps SKCM Orange with DCS white on black. And then I also built the green one with Cherry MX with Gateron Type S switches, which are really, really cool switches. So, and also GMK white on black. So both boards they look similar from the outside, but internally is where they are very, very different. So this is awesome, everybody. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be live here on Twitch again at 5:30 p.m. on Thursday with the Hippo TKL, and we're going to be converting that board to Alps. So that's going to be a really, really cool and exciting build, everybody. So thank you to everyone who tuned in, whether you came from the raid or you're just part of the Alps community and just the keyboard community. Again, it's been an honor and a pleasure, everybody. Have a great rest of your evening, everybody.